I have to say it has been an incredible sell-off. I mean, from 107,000, we've now fallen down to 80K flat. We've fallen by 25%, more or less, without any real pullbacks. And I want to show you what these kind of corrections have looked like. Since we started dropping down, the biggest reactions that we've seen back to the upside are about 5% here. And so far, we're sitting at about the same kind of range right now. The question is, has Bitcoin finally put in a bottom? And there are definitely better signs this time on this very, very small bottom formation that we might be seeing that we haven't seen before. There are better signs. So we're going to be going through those things. But I think that this is still a really big, broad discussion. And so there's going to be a lot more to cover. And obviously, I think everybody and their grandmother at this stage is expecting and maybe even hoping for further downward price action. And I don't really want to peg myself to either direction here because honestly, it's really hard to analyze this. But what I can say pretty confidently is that we had essentially bulls being a little bit too confident, myself included at the top, thinking that the market was going to keep going up forever. And it's the same thing happening in reverse now with bears, okay? And this is a really, really important note that, honestly, I really feel like I have to stress here on this YouTube channel while we're going through this content. There is a specific post that I wrote about this, which I'm going to be going through with you guys very quickly before we go through a lot more of this analysis here. And it is right here. Revenge shorting. Many will be considering this or already engaging in it. If you are taking shorts, the same rules always apply. Okay, you have to follow your rules. If you have no rules and you're still trying to short the market, consider sending funds directly to market makers via the Sol network for increased efficiency. It is ridiculous. You may as well send your money directly to them. Seriously, team, we're all heavy down on the dollar. Traders tend to make it worse by dwindling their crypto stack down as well. If you're macro bullish, this might be an opportunity to begin DCAs on some long-awaited rotations. That's my plan here. My stance also stays the same, to make heavier rotations if we do see a cut in alt BTC pairs. Now, let's move back to the charts here and break down what this actually means. Bitcoin has seen a steep drop down to $80,000. It's already pulled off a recovery here, but the recovery is very lackluster. It's very weak. It's up by 5%. We really need to see a lot more than this. We need to see a lot more than this today, and we need to see a lot more than this going into the end of this trading week, which we now have about 2 days left in. Now, with all of this in mind, dominance has really been on our side, and this is one of the big reasons that I'm able to stay optimistic and certainly not be worried that this market is completely, catastrophically doomed like everybody is trying to tell us. And this is for another big reason that I'm about to get to as well here in a minute, so smash up the likes if you are excited for this. But Bitcoin dominance has been dropping down. Speculation in altcoins hasn't really weakened. We have seen moves down against these Bitcoin pairs for some of these alts, but they're still in such good posture. Like, look at Solana right here as well. Honestly, very similar posture to Litecoin, but these are coins that really should and could be getting hit really hard if Bitcoin is dropping, but it's not happening. It is showing us quite a bit of strength here. Look at XRP. Like, how is XRP not even returning back down to the bottom of this range here against Bitcoin? The reason it's not is because these coins are carrying exceptional levels of strength in this market right now. Now, obviously, a lot of the drama that we faced is due to the S&P 500, and the S&P 500 essentially swung back below some of these lows that it's been using, honestly, for quite a while now, going back about a month. It did swing below these lows here in the last couple, yesterday, in yesterday's trading session. Today is the end of the trading week, and we have seen a recovery here, which is very nice for the stock market. If we take a look at where this puts individual stocks, nothing too crazy. A lot of these stocks are kind of still where they have been for most of this time, but it is a good sign that we are seeing some sort of an early kind of recovery happening on the S&P 500. The bottom line that I need us to keep in mind, and this is getting really annoying, so I'm going to say this as clearly as I can, you need to grab your fucking balls, make sure you still have a pair, and look at what these charts are actually telling you. The S&P 500 is down by 5.7%, okay? Shut the fuck up, it's just not that bad. This is actually crazy that I even have to say this on the microphone, and that's why I'm not saying it to you in a nice way anymore. This is fucking ridiculous. You're in financial markets, grow a fucking pair of balls. The second thing I want to say, and it's along the exact same lines, is what we see with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has now dropped by more than 32%. That makes this the biggest correction so far in this bull market. Okay, sure, that can be scary if you're an absolute pussy, but let's continue on. 40% is going to be your typical standard correction size that you see at least once inside of a Bitcoin bull market. Now, I want to show this to you on a different chart and really make this point. Bitcoin has never failed to produce a 40% correction correction at least inside of a bull market. Inside of every single Bitcoin bull market that we've ever had in history. And, you know, like, it gets unreasonable, right? We don't want to start too far back. But if we do even look at this period here, 2013 to this all-time high at 2014, we kind of kick this rally off down here at $1, actually more like $2. We set this all-time high here at $200. But then there is a 75% correction. It takes 100 days, which is a lot quicker than what we've seen so far. A 75% correction where the price goes from $260 down to $60. And then it manages to rally up to $1,000. So even if you buy the absolute top, you're still closing like nearly like a 4 times gain or something, which is pretty damn impressive. And so that's going to be what we got back there. Now, this was another bull market that we started off. And if we zoom in again, it's very, very clear. You're getting repeated massive corrections. This is a 40% correction right here. This is a 35. This is a 35. This is a 40. This is another 40. This is, I believe, this is a 30%. So, you know, we're getting consistent, you know, 30, 40% corrections inside of 2017. Okay, let's go further. On this bull market, we have a couple of these. We start the bull market from $3,000. We ended up here at 69K. And in between, we literally have an entire 70% price drop from this high down to this low. And then we do it again over here with another 55% pullback from this high down to this low. And in all of these situations that I've just outlined for you, Bitcoin has went up to set brand new all-time highs. It went parabolic. It rallied amazingly. If Bitcoin is pulling off something like this right now and it recovers, that would be completely on brand. It would be very consistent. It would be very predictable. It would be exactly what you would expect from Bitcoin from studying how it's performed historically. However, on the other hand, if Bitcoin does not use this kind of, rhyme with history, and Bitcoin doesn't actually produce a 40% correction and then continue to set all-time highs. If Bitcoin doesn't do that this time, I want you guys to understand that we are making history. That would be the first time in history that that's ever happened. You would have to explicitly say, this time is different, and it would be something that honestly should go down in the books as something that's quite significant, because it is, to me, kind of mind-blowing after having been doing this for over 8 years that Bitcoin can have a single bull cycle where all of its corrections are very modest, being only 20 and 30% moves. And that's what we've seen so far, right? This is 20% down over here. 20% down continuously, 20% down. Here's our first 32%, and here's our second 32%. And so far, if we bring this down to current price, to our lows, we're down by about 35, right? So we're still in line with what we've seen inside of this bull market. We're still in line with what we've seen. We're very much in line with what we've seen historically. In fact, if we're going along what we've seen historically, we need to drop even more by at least another, from this point here, like at least another relative 13% drop. We need to drop more if we're going off what's been done historically. But that still keeps us an incredible bullish posture inside of these markets. And that's what I'm seeing right here. I'll be honest, that's what I'm seeing. I can't, I'm saying what is going on in this market from what I'm seeing here. And, it is just straight facts. Now, again, a lot of people are not going to like these ideas because, their feelings tell them that the price needs to go down now, or because they've been so destroyed by this price movement that now they're so angry and they're looking at it like they're a bitter ex and they need to see their ex failing in life. And that's how people look at Bitcoin in these kind of situations. And, that's very cute. A lot of people do that, and that's going to be everyone's individual preference. But for the most part, it's not the attitude that we want to bring into this market, right? When we're inside of this market, we want to be putting our best foot forward every single day, making sure that we're making the right decisions every single day. And that's something that we can do if we're keeping in mind that this market has reached a very polarized point. Sentiment is absolutely in the toilet. Absolutely nobody thinks that a bounce is even possible, and rightfully so, because look at this chart. We're not producing any bounces, which is just absolutely insane. But all of these things to me tell me that, look, this is a situation where a relief rally is going to be due. Now, there are speculations coming in that a relief rally could start down here and end up here, right? And that could be the extent of our relief rally. And this is something that I've been making you guys acutely aware of inside of the live streams. If you're subscribed to the channel, you're going to be catching those as they are coming out. They're very, very time sensitive. You're going to know from our live streams that this is a possibility that we've been talking about here, and this is something I'm seeing increasing credibility being given to. Now, I don't necessarily think that's what we're going to get. I still think that it's very likely we can see at least the mid-90s, if not the low 100s. I think that that's still very possible. I personally still want to see 117, and I know it's going to sound crazy, but I definitely think it's possible, even if Bitcoin sets a lower high and then plunges through the floor and just really goes down to like 50 50K. Like in any of these situations, I still think getting even far above 100 is possible. One of the big reasons I feel that way now is because so many longs have been liquidated, right? We've seen, I think, like 2 billion longs liquidated in a 24-hour period with this move here. FTX was like 1.3 or 1.5. COVID was around the same as well. Obviously, 10/10, October 10, was a $20 billion liquidation event. That was absolutely massive. So we're nowhere near what we saw on 10/10. But this is still coming in as probably the largest liquidation event in history aside from that. Or if not, it's definitely, in the top, kind of roster there. And so, it's been quite a significant flush out of leverage. And obviously, the only direction that this leverage has been flushed out is down. So there have been a lot of short traders coming into the market. And that's why I made this post here on Twitter about exactly this. If you want to get yourself inside of Twitter, then that's going to be linked in the description down below. But as I was saying here, this might be the time to go for some DCAs for coins that are in better positions here. So far, I believe Bitcoin pairs have held up really well. Sol, XRP, Litecoin, all doing great, largely unaffected. And so it's easy for me to stay consistent in my stance here. The right countering signs are present, the key levels are holding, Bitcoin isn't concerning down to 75K, and if we fall below 75, I wouldn't suddenly start switching on any panic buttons either. Now, this is part of a wider post and series of posts that I've made inside of BroFi. We just did our weekly show yesterday. It was incredible. It was over an hour long. It's essentially like the live streams that you get on this channel, but we focus on analysis on this channel. Inside of BroFi, we're focusing on the real nitty-gritty trading setups, investment setups, and so on and so forth that I'm personally entertaining and taking on. I've given a huge detailed breakdown of what I'm looking at here, and I think this market is looking so hot. We've seen a lot of you guys taking advantage of BroFi here in this climate. We've seen tons of members being able to pay off their fee very quickly after joining. It is so easy to do that because it's $100 to join. You definitely will end up losing more than that on your next bad trade. And so this is something that a lot of these members have been able to recognize and get themselves in on the other side. This is a transformation. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be something that happens overnight. This is trading. Trading isn't fucking easy, but this is going to put you in the best position that you can find yourself in. You're getting direct access to me, my own proven tools and strategies, and I'm working individually with traders as well, which is fantastic. I have a lot of time to be going deep with you, even in the DMs inside of the group chat. I've been having a lot of interaction with students. If you want to be able to do the same thing, then get yourself inside. We've been killing it already inside of this market. Only been up for a couple of weeks, but incredible energy. If you want to get yourself inside as a founding member at founding member prices, $100. This is the best price it's ever going to be at. Prices are going up this year. If you want to be able to take advantage of that, you are going to be locked in for 1 full year at that price. Your price will not increase. So well worth checking that out if you are interested, with that link in the description down below. Of course, while you are down there, it's this top link here. Check out Bybit, check out Blowfin. Brilliant channel partners here that offer incredible products. Check them out if you're not from a restricted region. But bringing it back to the market here, setting this low at $80,000, obviously coming a little bit after the 85 level that I was looking at. It doesn't really matter hugely to me, but it does look like we might still have to grab a little bit more liquidity lower, or even lower than 75. Honestly, it's very hard to say at this point, and I don't think it matters either, because as I've demonstrated to you, it would have to be a first in history event if Bitcoin does not produce a 40% or something very large, much larger than 40. It can be larger than 40 as well, but minimum 40%. If Bitcoin doesn't produce one of these corrections inside of the bull market, it would be the first time in history, right? It would be very interesting. Obviously, I know that there are a lot of theories now that are starting to look very valid, like the Fourier cycle and stuff like that. And I definitely think that those people have been onto something. So good shit to you guys. I don't believe in the Fourier cycle. Never did. Still don't. And I don't think that's going to change in the future. I still don't think that this market cycle is over. I think that people are massively overreacting. I think that Bitcoin's in a normal correction. I think, for God's sakes, the S&P 500 is an incredible posture as well. And if the S&P 500 starts seeing really sunny days again, I do still think that that's going to drag Bitcoin up. Now, a lot of people think that's not going to happen because the S&P and Bitcoin haven't really maintained a good positive correlation this year. So I understand why people would say that. However, I don't believe that the markets are going to be able to stay irrational forever. I think they've stayed irrational for a very long time. There's a brilliant saying that says that the markets can stay irrational for longer than you can stay solvent, and that is 100% true, which basically means that the market could be very weird. It could be very weird for a long time. You might not be able to, keep yourself afloat in the game for how long it stays weird for if you keep on trading, because you might just keep on, dwindling dwindling your stack down, right? That's definitely something that happens in this market. And so that's something that you could be expecting, again, just where the S&P 500, continues moving up and Bitcoin doesn't. Like I said, I don't think that kind of irrationality is going to stick around for too long. I think we've seen an incredible flush right now. I think there's been a lot of leverage that's been flushed out of the market. I think there's been a lot of fear that's been really hammered into the market, I guess, and a lot of people taking themselves out of the market as a result as well. Everywhere I see it's only capitulation, it's only fear, it's only dread, it's only, bear porn hypotheses that say that we're falling down to 20, 30K. These theories could be valid. I don't think they are at all. But the bottom line is that these are massive overreactions. If there's ever been a bottom where sentiment was different to this, I would be very surprised. Like I said, over 8.5 years in this game, every single bottom I've ever seen has shaped up exactly like this. The problem, obviously, is that the markets are irrational. Another extra 2-3 days of dropping could drop Bitcoin down by $10,000 at this point, right? I mean, Bitcoin really just is in that kind of state right now. But the only thing that really means is don't fucking leverage up like a degenerate. And if you don't leverage up like a degenerate, you literally don't even have to worry about that. So I think that this market's still in a pretty decent posture overall. I don't like that we plunged through so many support levels, but I think that we are going to be able to slice through resistance pretty easily as well. The big test is going to be if we come up and grab resistance, or if we come up and grab flips and actually start flipping levels and turning them into support. At the moment, it only looks bearish. It only looks like moving up is going to lead into a lower high. So that's what the charts are telling me. I still don't think that's going to happen. I still think that a recovery is possible, but I have no technical basis for expecting that right now, other than saying that the market is overly, just bearish right now. I mean, the RSI, there are certain metrics that make this very clear, right? The RSI is sitting at 22. This is, just astronomically low. This is very, very low. We don't really see the RSI this low particularly often, and whenever we do, it does tend to be quite close to real market bottoms, right? I mean, if we look at the RSI historically and where the price was every time it really dipped below, oversold here, it's very, very similar what we're seeing here now compared to previous instances on the chart. Most of the times when the RSI does reach levels like this, you see strong reactions. Fear and greed index, it's the same deal right here, right? I mean, it is abysmally low on the fear and greed index. I got no fucking clue how it's reading at 14. It should be below 10 at this point, but in either case, we're still massively suppressed, staying down for a long time, and historically, this has also been something that's really, really helped the market pull off a recovery, especially when we spend quite a bit of time down at these lows in terms of sentiment. You do just tend to see recoveries coming after that kind of thing as well. And this is the thing, right, is that like from, these because technical indicators now are going to be overwhelmingly showing you short trade ideas, because that's where the moving averages are pointed now. That's where all the lagging indicators are. They're going to be giving us, resistance indications now in short setups now. That doesn't necessarily mean that going short is the best idea here. I do definitely think that going short is fantastic, especially in terms of a downtrend. But when you are looking at a market here that's had a relentless 25% sell-off without a pullback, you could just jump on that fucking gravy train and let it rip even lower. But you are significantly risking yourself from just getting absolutely fucked on one of them candles that just absolutely just lightsaber, to the opposite direction. I just don't think it's safe for that reason. But when these kind of risk factors start to become mitigated or start to, not be so present in the space, when we get over them, basically, I think that we might actually have a really, really nice opportunity to go short. So, for example, for me, a nice, interesting example would be if Bitcoin can get up to resistance. Only after getting rejected at resistance would I be looking to take shorts all the way down to wherever the fuck this thing ends up going. Really, it doesn't really matter. If you do want to take up positions in this market, like I mentioned, these exchanges are going to give you free money. So when you deposit money and start trading, these exchanges are going to give you more free money that you can throw back into the market. And all you got to do is start trading to get that money, which is really, really cool. Check them out if you're not from a restricted region. There are definitely very, very good offers there. But as far as where we are right now, again, like I said, not too bad. I think some of these altcoins are down a little bit more than I would like them to be, which is obviously not ideal. But some of these other altcoins, I have to say, I'm very, very impressed with the strength that I'm seeing here. I mean, we're bouncing where we're supposed to. We're holding in a situation where, honestly, it must be very hard for the price to be able to hold on. So I do definitely think that deserves some credit as well. So, it's definitely not over. It's definitely not like the end of the world, like I think a lot of people people want you to believe. I certainly do not think this is one of those see you in 4 years or 2 years kind of situations. I think that's all very, very funny and silly cope. I think that so far this bull market is still looking pretty normal. And I gotta be honest, guys, like if I wasn't even a YouTuber right now, it would be I'd probably be speaking even more like in like to an even larger extreme. Because I really believe what I'm saying, like this is for me, right? I mean, I'm not saying follow me into the fucking slaughterhouse. If you think I'm headed into the slaughterhouse, then don't fucking follow me, right? I don't want you following me anyway. That's your fucking business. You do what you want to do, right? It's obviously got nothing to do with me. But if I wasn't a YouTuber, if I didn't have to like fucking just keep in mind that I'm speaking to, a lot of smart people like you, which is fantastic, but a lot of absolutely degenerated idiots as well. If I knew that I wasn't speaking to people like that, I'd probably be speaking a little bit different. I'd be saying the same things. I would just be even more firm. It's truly how I feel. My portfolio is geared this way. I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and I don't feel bad about this market right now. I'm sorry, I just don't. We're down $40,000 from 125. It's just not that fucking crazy. You need to get with the times. This is crypto. This is the cryptocurrency market. It's always behaved irrationally like this. It's not going to stop behaving irrationally like this. And if you don't like it, then I don't know what you're doing in this space. Hopefully, you already sold with your paper hands at the top, so hopefully you're not writing this down and it's not your problem anymore. But ladies and gents, I hope you have enjoyed this video. You know what to do. Smash up those likes, subscribe, tick the bell, get yourself inside of BroFi. We've posted our BroFi certified course videos here. We've just released 3 new episodes. They are the best 3 episodes I've ever recorded in my life, and they are highly actionable, highly relevant, highly detailed breakdowns of specific trading strategies that work incredibly well inside of the market right now. If you want to get access to it instantly, immediately, you can do that with this link in the description down below for a simple $100 fee. Nice and easy. Obviously, a lot more will typically be lost for most people's trades. When they make a bad trade, you're usually going to lose a lot more than $100. So this is a super, super easy fee to pay to hopefully pay some of those problems away. You get inside of a performance-driven community, getting dedicated support. It's usually directly from me because I got the time to deal with it. 5 key pillars. We've already outlined those. These are insane. These will change your life. And our weekly live shows. Our most recent show was yesterday. It's actually still relevant. Everything I said is still relevant. So I've asked anybody that missed it to just re-watch it inside of the BroFi channel, and you guys have absolutely loved it. So I'll see you on the other side, you absolute legends. It's been amazing. Hope you've enjoyed this one. You know what to do. And take care. Cheers.